In a city that never sleeps, a story of extraordinary courage emerged on a day that would forever change its heartbeat. Among the smoke and echoing cries of September 11th, a story stands out, not just of tragedy, but of unwavering heroism. A true American hero whose bravery on that day reminds us of the strength of the human spirit, even in the darkest of times. 2 decades ago, the world stood still as 19 terrorists took control of 4 commercial planes, turning them into instruments of devastation. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center bore the brunt of their malice. The Pentagon felt their wrath, and a brave group of passengers in Pennsylvania ensured that the 4th plane would not reach its intended target. That dark day, September 11th, 2001, saw nearly 3,000 innocent souls lost, marking the most devastating foreign attack on American soil. Yet, amidst the chaos and despair emerged stories of hope and heroism. This isn't a story of the perpetrators, but of an unsung hero. Rick Rescorla, a 62-year-old Vietnam veteran and the head of security for Morgan Stanley in the South Tower, was a beacon of hope. Having always advocated for safety, especially after the 1993 terrorist attack, Rick's foresight and bravery were pivotal in saving countless lives, significantly reducing the potential death toll. On September morning in 2001, 19 extremists linked to Al-Qaeda hijacked planes and unleashed unprecedented terror on American soil. The images of that day are etched in our memories. Planes crashing into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon under attack, and brave passengers in Pennsylvania fighting back, ensuring their aircraft wouldn't reach its intended target. New York City bore the brunt, with 2,750 souls lost. The Pentagon mourned 184 lives, and Pennsylvania grieved for 40 heroes. Among the lost were over 400 New York police officers and firefighters who rushed in when everyone else was rushing out. But the horror didn't end there. Just a week later, a new fear gripped the nation. Letters laced with anthrax, a deadly virus, began arriving at newsrooms and congressional offices. 5 people lost their lives and panic spread. The letters hinted at an Islamic connection, leading many to suspect Saddam Hussein, the then dictator of Iraq. But as investigations deepened, the trail led closer to home. The FBI's eye turned to an American scientist, Bruce Ivins. The case took another dark turn when Ivins took his life in 2008. Though the FBI closed the case, many questions lingered, casting shadows of doubt and mystery. September 2001, planes crashed into New York City's iconic Twin Towers, the Pentagon near Washington, D.C., and a quiet field in Somerset County, Pennsylvania. Amidst the chaos and devastation of the deadliest terrorist attack on U.S. soil, stories of incredible bravery and selflessness emerged. Rick Rescorla, a British-born retired Army officer with a heart of gold and nerves of steel. Working in the South Tower of the World Trade Center, Rick wasn't new to danger. He'd been at the North Tower during the 1993 terrorist bombing and had played a pivotal role in evacuating people. Rick always had a gut feeling that danger might strike again, and possibly even worse. So, when the North Tower was hit, he grabbed his bullhorn and began guiding everyone out of his office without missing a beat. His colleagues knew the drill thanks to the countless safety drills he'd conducted over the years. As they descended the stairwell amidst the fear and uncertainty, Rick's voice rang out, singing the same uplifting songs he'd once sung to boost the spirits of his comrades in the Vietnam War. The brave men of Ladder Company 6 from New York City's Chinatown found themselves in the heart of the storm, ascending the emergency stairwell of the World Trade Center's North Tower. A sudden tremor shook the ground beneath them as they climbed, and the lights danced erratically. Captain Jay Jonas's radio crackled with the unthinkable news: the South Tower had fallen. A chilling realization gripped Jonas. Their tower could be next. Without hesitation, he commanded his team to reverse course from the 27th floor, racing against time to escape. But fate had another encounter in store for them. On the 20th floor, they met Josephine Harris, a bookkeeper who had bravely made her way down 50 floors. Exhausted and on the brink of collapse, the choice was clear yet agonizing: speed up their descent or slow down to save her. But these were firefighters, men whose essence was protecting and rescuing. Without a second thought, Jonas and his team rallied around Josephine. The world around them soared as they continued their descent, and the North Tower began its tragic fall. A glimmer of optimism appeared among the confusion and helplessness. Rick Rescorla is a shining example of genuine American bravery. This courageous person put everything at stake to save approximately 2,700 lives and significantly lower the horrific death toll from that dreadful day. His deed spoke more than words as the head of security for Morgan Stanley in the South Tower. 9/11's aftermath was a tornado of feelings. Americans struggled with shock, grief, terror, and rage. On television screens, the heartbreaking sights played out and became unavoidable truths. A startling 63% of Americans found themselves hooked to the news, unable to turn away despite the unbearable grief. Survey results just a few days after the event were depressing. Almost half of people reported having trouble focusing, and a heartbreaking 71% admitted feeling despair. A third of the population had difficulty falling asleep since they were still troubled by what had happened that day. Most people at that time used television as their getaway to the outside world. A startling 90% of Americans watched TV for news updates, while only 5% went online. The horrific visuals presented left a lasting impression. A staggering 92% of viewers acknowledged experiencing intense grief while watching, and 77% felt the coverage alarming. However, the majority of them kept watching to comprehend and stand together. He had saved nearly 2,700 lives, but paid the ultimate price, losing his own life in the process. The physical injuries and health issues that many faced were evident, but the emotional and psychological scars ran even more profound. Rick's wife, Susan, remembers their final conversation with heart-wrenching clarity. Just moments before the towers came down, Rick called her. Right before the towers came down, he called me and said to me, "If something happens to me, I just want you to know that you made my life," Susan recounted. The weight of that call, the finality of it, was a burden she would carry with her. When the towers collapsed, Susan felt a loss so profound that words could hardly capture it. She had thought she was prepared, but the reality was far more devastating. Yet, despite the overwhelming grief, Susan found a purpose. She began traveling, gathering perspectives from around the world about the 9/11 attacks. She wanted to ensure that the world never forgot that September morning. It was her way of coping and honoring Rick's memory. "I will never forget, and I will love Rick for the rest of my life," she said. The emotional aftermath of that day wasn't limited to Susan. Many, especially New Yorkers, felt deep-seated anger and sadness. The events of 9/11 left an unforgettable mark on their psyche. Rick's sacrifice and heroism became a beacon of hope for many. His story was a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the lengths one would go to save others. As one of his colleagues, Mick Mahon, said, "Rick is just a true American hero. He wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and he did." As we reflect on September 11th, it is clear that its impact is deeply felt across America. Time may heal, but memories remain, reminding us of our resilience and unity. As we move forward, let us never forget the sacrifices and stories of that day.